What up guys, this is the Hurricane NSX build part 13. Our customer has decided this JDM K24a is going to be the heart of this transformation. So let's go ahead, get this thing cleaned up and ready to make some power. So since this engine is being used for a race application, there are some components here that we will no longer be needing. For example, this power steering pump here, this is going to be replaced for just a idler pulley, probably from Hybrid Racing or K-Tuned. We're going to have to go with either a manual steering rack conversion or maybe some sort of aftermarket electronic power steering on this car. The 92 Acura NSX actually came with electronic power steering, but since this is a flood car and it was sitting in a saltwater bath, the chances of the DC motors in that electronic power steering rack working are slim to none. Now the plan is to turbocharge this engine, so we're going to go ahead and remove the intake manifold and exhaust manifold as well. Those are going to be replaced by probably a Sidewinder exhaust manifold and maybe like a Skunk 2 Ultra intake manifold. So far, working on this K series, it's a lot. There's a lot going on here compared to the B series I'm used to. However, working on this JDM motor is kind of nice because compared to the motors we have here in the Midwest, there's a lot less rust. Say I was working on like my CRV and I had to take off the exhaust heat shield bolts, they would not be coming off this easy. Those are actually some pretty long runners. So I made a mistake in a previous video, but it was actually a good mistake. I figured this was an RAA variant engine just because I saw this RAA stamped on the block, but apparently all K24As out of Japan have that. What really matters is this stamp right here. And that says RBB2, which means this is a true VTEC K24 3-lobe system. And it's a little bit different than the K24 you'd find in my overexposed CRV over there. And the difference is that CRV is tuned more towards fuel efficiency, where this one is more performance oriented. Now, this is actually out of a JDM Honda Absolute, which is kind of like a Japanese Odyssey minivan. Those things are pretty cool. It's just really small. Cool little minivan. It's got about 200 horsepower, and the engine in there is very similar to what we have in our USDM Acura TSX. From a tuning or aftermarket standpoint, I'm still very new to the K-Series platform. Of course, I've got a lot of Honda buddies that are running them, but I've never personally ran them myself. So as we're doing this build, I'm still actually learning quite a bit about these things. But that's cool. That's why the YouTube comments exist. So feel free, any suggestions, any information you have for me, put her down there. They don't really give you too much room to get the intake manifold off, do they? Those nuts are buried deep. It's all good, that's why we got ratcheting wrenches. I'll tell you what, this ain't no B series. You could take that either way. You could put that on a shirt and some people would be like, oh, you don't want to race this thing, this ain't no B series. Then you could also look at it like, it's alright, it ain't no B series, you know what I'm saying?
Hey.
What's up?
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Mail guy just drove by. Nice NSX, man. I said thank you like it was mine. Stolen valor. I'm not gonna say what race he was, but I will spell it out for you. A-S-A-I-N. This thing's like a damn Chinese finger trap. I couldn't imagine getting this thing off while it's in the car. And is that the thermostat right there? They wouldn't put it at the water outlet? This ain't no B series, I tell you what. Why would they tuck the thermostat down there? I can't really say much, I'm not an engineer. Greater minds than mine designed this K series. And even greater minds designed the B series. The owner's probably like, you better stop talking shit about my K series, it's ruining my street cred. As if my opinion on this motor really matters that much. That should be everything minus one big hose down there. There we go. Looks like our K24a did not come with an AC compressor. However, the customer does want AC on this car, so we are gonna have to source one, probably from a JDM Honda Odyssey. So that Honda Absolute we talked about earlier, some of those must have been optioned with air conditioning. I guess they don't need it as much in Japan, so it's not like standard over there. Let's keep moving here. The more stuff we get off this block, the easier it's gonna be to clean. I didn't know that. K-Series has a water pump driven by the serpentine belt, where the B-Series, the water pump is driven by the timing belt. So basically, if your serpentine belt snaps, which is a lot more common than a timing belt snapping, your engine's gonna overheat and you're screwed. Yeah, the K-Series is better than B-Series, yeah. All right, guys, I'm done making jokes. These are actually really good engines. I promise they're really good. I mean, there's a reason they're so popular for swaps and everything. They're really good. Removing this thermostat housing here, I can't help but notice that it's made out of plastic, which is strange because the B-Series, it's made out of aluminum. I know these days it's not too uncommon for thermostat housings to be made out of plastic. I mean, most intake manifolds these days are made out of plastic, but for a K-Series, it's kind of strange. Kind of curious, you know? Very curious. Oh, it fucking peed on me. Damn. I thought the car was done doing that. That's probably what I get for talking so much shit about this thing. Starter on this thing looks really nice. It's OEM, Denso, and I believe the starters for the automatic and manual K-Series are actually the same. Good to see. Serpentine belt tensioner still looks good. Our bearings still feel nice. And I think I take back what I said about the water pump. Since this is a timing chain engine, you're actually never supposed to have to replace it. So I suppose the water pump would go bad before the timing chain. Knock sensor. I don't quite know what this thing is. It looks like it's got a PCV valve going to it. Yeah. That's crazy. I wonder if that vents the crankcase pressure all the way through this bracket here. I tell you what, guys, I think we got ourselves a really good engine here. Everything came off really nice and easy, didn't give me any trouble, and I didn't find any damage. So now it's time to squirt some chemicals on this thing, see if we can clean it up and look brand new again. If you guys remember back when I first started this channel and I cleaned up that B16 engine, it looked a hell of a lot worse than this. This ain't even that bad. Like I said, we got some like baked on grease and grime here, a little bit of oil staining, but nothing the super clean won't take care of. And when I'm done with this, to take it even one step further, I'm gonna hit it with that Starbright aluminum cleaner and restorer that we used on the chassis suspension components and the subframes and everything. That stuff did a really good job, so I'm very excited to see what it does to this guy. But I don't want to make a huge mess getting this thing cleaned in my garage, so I'm going to go ahead and wheel this K24 outside. And just for fun, I'll switch over to my digital camera and film the cleaning process with that. Tell you what, guys, that was a lot of elbow grease, but I think it was worth it. This thing's looking pretty dang good. So let's switch back to HD and maybe do some before and afters, and we'll wrap it up. Man, I hope those before and afters turn out nice. Hopefully they reflect the amount of work we just put in here, because I was going at it for about 3-4 hours there. I tell you what, in person, it looks a hell of a lot better. There is not a speck of dirt on this thing. What I was really fighting was the oxidation. So the aluminum brightener helped quite a bit, but the thing is, I think it works better on like pontoons or kind of like polished aluminum surfaces. When you have really porous aluminum surfaces like cast aluminum, you're kind of fighting a chemical reaction every time the cleaning solution dries. You could see how much brighter the head is compared to the block, just because the head is less porous than the block casting. But overall, I mean, can't really be mad at this. It's definitely up to my standard. You could take it one step further and polish it, and then there is a lot of people that like to paint their block. However, I'm not a big fan of painting blocks because it's hard to find like a quality engine enamel that won't be damaged when you spill like hot oil on it. You always have things like maybe like brake fluid gets on it, transmission fluid. A lot of that stuff eats right through the paint if it sits on there and gets hot. So in my experience, just cleaning up the aluminum, making it look nice, and then throwing some real nice looking accessories on it, maybe some powder coated parts, you can make a really nice looking engine. And I'm sure we're gonna take this K24 valve cover here and get it powder coated by our boy Charlie Moore. I talked to the customer. He's not going with the classic wrinkle red. I think he's going with more of an anodized finish. So we'll stick with that theme throughout the engine bay. And speaking of engine bay, that's what we're gonna be working on next. Probably in the next episode, we'll be going in here and cleaning all this up because it's pretty crusty in there. Probably won't do a engine bay respray, but there's a lot of kind of yellowing and staining in there. So I'm gonna try my best to get it cleaned and then polish it up. I know, like on the Legend inside that engine bay, kind of had a lot of that same yellowing, and just a quick rub down with some Meguiar's 105 really takes care of a lot of that. So at the end of the day, this is a race car, but why not make it look nice? Well, that's all the time we have. It's time to start editing. I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.